I have this theory though, and I say it all the time on my show, that people love podcasts like that because they want to be told exactly what to do. I don't know if it's just because it takes the guesswork out of it, and so many people have the experience of exactly what you're saying, deciding that they're going to start overhauling everything, and then the wheels start to fall off a couple weeks thereafter, and then they just give up. Or probably this is part of it as well. It's like this oversaturation of wellness things and information, and it's hard to discern like what is right and what is not and what to apply to your own life. And so I feel like people go to podcasts like that because they just want someone to be like, this is what you're doing and this is how you're doing it. And like, I'm not that person. And I know that you kind of are. Like if we're training together. So when you and I started training together years ago, that's how we started. It was like, you're walking 10,000 steps a day. You were like, before we even work out, you're doing that. And you were looking at my food and all of that. And we were tweaking some of that stuff. But then I feel like once you have the fundamentals down, then you have a little bit of wiggle room to find what works.
Yeah. You need to, you're building a building, right? You need a foundation, and then you got to slowly build up from there. You don't want to start with having a beautiful roof and no foundation. So I think it's analogous to reading books. You don't want to read 15 books all at once. You're going to forget where you are with each one, and you're going to be overwhelmed and not read any of them. Read a book, focus. When that's done and you've mastered that, move on to the next and the next, and build. And I think adding these behaviors, there's a time management analogy that I learned years ago. I think I probably told it to you a long time ago, where when I was in college, I went to take this course in time management, and the professor had at the front of the class this big aquarium. And the aquarium was, call it 3 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. And in it were these rocks, and each rock was the size of a soccer ball, and it was to the top. And he looked around the room and he says, does this look full? And we all looked at him and said, yeah, it looks full. He says, hold on. He poured smaller rocks, and it filled in the crevices of those big rocks. He says, how about now? We said, okay, now it's full. He said, hold on a second. Then he poured in gravel, which filled in the crevices, then sand, and then water. And he said, the point of this is you couldn't have done it in any other order. You can't go sand first and then rocks. There would be nowhere to put it. You can't start off with water and put anything else in because it would overflow. So you have to decide January 1st, what are your big rocks? What's your small rocks, your gravel, your sand, and your water? And you want to make sure that you put the big rocks in first. And maybe the big rocks for you are sleep. Without sleep, it's kind of hard to exercise. You're too tired. So start off, identify what habits are the small rocks, the big rocks, the gravel, the sand, and the water.
How do you suggest people identify that if they have no idea?
I would say definitely buy many of my books. I think that's a big help. No, I think I would say if you're someone who's normally very active and you don't eat well, maybe a big rock for you is going to be food. Maybe it's, every meal I'm going to have protein, the mass of my hand, and some vegetables or something like that. If you're someone who has a moderately good diet, but you're very sedentary, maybe you start off with walking. That's one of your big rocks for you is adding 1,000 steps a day every single week until you get to 12,000 steps a day and you stay there. If you're someone who walks and eats well, but you don't have strength training as part of your program, maybe that's one of your big rocks. So I think, I can't tell everyone what their big rock should be. I think depends on your current lifestyle and what your goals are.
That's good advice, because another question that so many people asked me when I did the question box thing on Instagram was, what's more important, diet or exercise? Or where to start, diet or exercise? And I know for me, I kind of fall into that category that you just mentioned of like, I eat well, but I'm kind of sedentary. Like it's been a hard year for me physically, health-wise, and it's been hard for me to have any kind of consistent workout routine or any workout routine for that matter at all.
You're trying to survive, not thrive yet.
Exactly.
Right.
But I've been walking where I can, and I'm cognizant of that. And I also know, like for myself, I don't know how you are, if I am working out more, I'm more inclined to want to eat healthier.
Yeah, they often go together, these behaviors. Now, the flip side of it is some people who do a lot of exercise see that as a carte blanche to eat whatever they want.
I know some people like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we both do. And so it's funny. I think everyone responds differently to that. And so to each his own.
When it comes to losing weight, can you say which is more important?
Diet is way more important for weight loss because weight loss is a byproduct of calories in versus calories out. It's the law of thermodynamics. It doesn't matter what kind of genetics you have. People say, no, my genetics are different. It's calories in versus calories out. And if you are ingesting more calories than you're burning, then you will gain weight, and vice versa. If you're burning more calories than you take in, you'll lose weight. The most important thing for calorie burn is not what you do, but who you are. And I know that sounds strange, but if you figure out your weight in pounds, and I don't want to overwhelm people, but you divide it by 2.2 and you come up with your weight in kilograms. So I know, for me, I know what my weight is in kilograms. So let's just say, for argument's sake, someone's 100 kilograms. That's how many calories you burn an hour if you don't leave your bed. If you stay in bed and don't leave your bed, you burn 2,400 calories a day. The more of your body that's muscle compared to fat, that number goes up a bit more. Then the more active you are, that number goes up a bit more. Then the kind of food you eat can actually make that number go up a bit more. There's the thermic effect of food. Certain foods burn calories just to eat them. So I think there's a bunch of ways you can manipulate the caloric expenditure, but the most important one is, the body composition that you have and just the calories you burn at rest.
Mm-hmm. Say more about these calories or these foods that burn calories.
Yeah.
So foods that take more energy.
Foods, yeah. So like just table sugar just absorb. You can actually absorb some of it under your tongue. It doesn't require anything. The more processing your body needs to do to break down foods, the more the thermic effect of food is higher. So if you have a food in its natural state, if you eat an apple and you chew the apple, that's mastication that requires energy. And then, you send it down through peristalsis and through your esophagus into your stomach, and it's exposed to acids, and then your intestine, and it's exposed to good, healthy bacteria. And all of these things help break down the food so we can access the nutrients. Versus if you just drink apple juice, there's nothing really for your body to do to access the sugar in the apple juice. So the apple's wrapped in fiber, so that takes more calories to burn. Some other ones are cold liquids. Cold foods, believe it or not, actually require some heat for your body to bring the temperature down. Another one would be spices. So, hot, spicy foods, I struggle with those, but some people actually, it actually elevates your thermic response to those foods.
Mm-hmm. What about smoothies? So since those are kind of broken down, does that require less energy for your body to digest?
Great question. If you're just blending a banana or just blending an apple or just blending these things, then sure, it would marginally be absorbed faster than not blending it. But generally, when you make a smoothie, you're adding in things like protein, you're adding seeds or fibers, you're adding in healthy fats in the form of nut butters or avocado. And so the combination of protein, fiber, and healthy fats definitely slow down the rate of absorption into your body, even if it's blended.
Does the same thing go for your soups, your famous soups?
Yeah, same thing for my famous soups. By the way, I have to say, there's this viral video going around of this guy. He goes by Doctor something. He's not a doctor. I don't want to say who it is.
A lot of those.
A lot of those. And he says, if you blend a banana, never put a banana in your smoothie. If you blend it, it makes your blood sugar go up 400 times faster than something. It's made up. There's no science behind it. He has no facts to support this. It's just a ridiculous, wrong assumption, and don't be scared of blending foods. Blending foods, actually, there's some really interesting research that found that, I think this was done by the World Health Organization in the late 80s. They looked at certain countries in Africa that had food shortages and that the World Health Organization sent them food. And they found that people who had malnutrition still had malnutrition after they were given food because their digestive systems really weren't working well. And they looked at different forms of preparation of different produce, for example, having it raw, chopped, steamed, boiled, fried, all these different ways. And they found that blended fruits and vegetables, blended proteins, the body's able to access the nutrients in a more bioavailable way. The vitamins and the minerals and all those things are more bioavailable. You can use them more. So that's a good thing.
Interesting.